Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Todd Duncan Coaching Live. I am Hope Foreman. I'm the Divisional President for Todd Duncan Coaching, and I have with me one of our master level coaches, Matt Harrison. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Good morning, and we have one of our master level coaching members with us, Eric Provost. Good morning, Eric.
Hi, Hope.
So Coaching Live's primary objective is designed to educate and equip our sales leaders and professionals with powerful tools, insights, and clear steps in achieving productivity and business growth. So what does that really mean? It means that our goal is to talk about current relatable success strategies and challenges and how to overcome them. So if our conversation today gives you one good idea that will make a difference in your business, then we have achieved our goal. So with that, I'd like to get started and welcome yet again, Eric Provost. So Eric is a coaching member from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Eric has been coaching with us for a little over a year now. And I'm super excited about this because today we're going to be discussing mindset, vision, strategy, and how that can and will result in measurable success for you and your business. So welcome, Eric. We're so excited to have you with us today.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so let's jump off right now. And Matt, as Eric's coach, would you do us the honor of introducing Eric and tell us a little bit about his business?
Yeah, I'd love to. So Eric is, again, in the Montreal, Quebec, Canada area. And, we began coaching him back in June of 2020. We then made a lot of headway just in producer level coaching with him, graduated him to master level coaching in 2021. And again, for those that don't know, the difference between producer level and master level, producers really focusing in on, you as an individual with your growth and learning high trust and how to, leverage that with your business and your relationships. And then master level really takes it to a level where we're working on team growth, team building. It's a much bigger mindset. And it has been so fun to coach Eric. To give you an idea kind of where he started, in 2019, he had 32 million, in total revenue. His team then funded collectively with him 63 million in 2020. So that was 100% increase in business. And this year, so far, he's on track to completely crush even that amount. And he's sitting at 68 million year to date, which is awesome.
That is awesome. And so is that year to date June? Is that year to date June or July?
I believe that's July. Or is that June?
Yeah, it's end of June.
For June, okay. So you're halfway through the year and you've already eclipsed 2020. That's fantastic. So, Eric, congratulations on your success. I know you have been very, very tough. Matt tells me all the time just how dedicated and committed you are to your success. Tell me, what's your business plan goal? Well, what is your goal today to end 2021?
In term of volume, we were looking at 100 millions. So that was the goal at the beginning of the years. So yeah, we're working for 100 millions for this year.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
100 millions for this year.
100 million. Yeah. Okay, because I'm just going to put a little note in my calendar and check in with Matt and say, did Eric hit his 100 million? So that would be spectacular. That would be a first time for you ever, right, Eric?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
I have every confidence that you will achieve that. Matt, when talking with prospective coaching members who are considering our coaching program with Todd Duncan, the question always arises, is there a difference in working with mortgage brokers in Canada as opposed to the US? Would you share with us what your experience has been in coaching with Eric?
Interesting. When you're looking at different countries, there's different rules, different regulations. We were kind of talking a little bit off air on some of the regulations we have in the United States as far as referrals that are not necessarily the same in Canada. I coached someone in Australia as well. And, again, just the rules, regulations, and how real estate transacts is very, very different. But I think what's interesting is that the fundamentals of high trust remain the same.
Yes.
So what we teach in, what I'm teaching to a loan officer here, and not only what I'm teaching, but what I actually practice in my own business as an originating, loan officer here in Utah, is the same basic principles in Canada. It'd be the same in Australia, it'd be the same really anywhere in the world. And so I think that first and foremost, that's one of the pieces that we come to find out that, okay, this works everywhere. I think it's interesting, when you start to learn the nuances of the market in different areas and what you can and can't do and what works and what doesn't work.
Sure.
But again, it really comes back to the principles of high trust. The laws are all the same. They work regardless of where you are in the world. And it has been really, really fun to watch Eric implement. I mean, he's an implementation machine. And it's basically, awesome. Okay, Matt, what's next? And then watching this building process with him has just been so much fun, because it's fine tweaks now that we're doing, and we're seeing the success on paper.
Right. Matt, that is so amazing. Thank you for that answer. It's very, very true that they do apply, today and in any market. So I'm going to ask you both this question to answer this one question. So I'll start with you, Eric. So what would you say, in working with Matt, what would you say were your biggest challenges in the beginning, and how you and Matt overcome them?
Like you said, the first challenge was to understand each other, the difference between the laws, like in the United States and Canada and Quebec. So as soon as he understood what I can do and what I cannot do, we began to work on a plan around this. But like you said, first steps was for me to really implement and understand all the I trust laws. But even regarding the laws, it's working everywhere. So so that's where we work first on what I can do, what I cannot do. And as soon as we begin to work on this and we overcome this, it was just like learning everything.
That's fantastic. So Eric, I know that in your world, we were talking offline about how real estate agents and even clients expect the mortgage broker to pay for their referrals. What was your first impression when Matt said, well, we're not going to do that anymore?
Yeah. So when I first said to Matt that in my area, the real estate broker are getting paid almost the same amount of me for only a referral, and so I have to compete the bank that are paying more and more, are paying too much a real estate broker. First thing he told me is, you're not gonna pay them anymore. We're gonna work on which is good. So we're gonna find a process where they're gonna trust you enough to just give you the referral because you're gonna give a good service to the customer. So that was the first big step for me to begin to work, not work or on the transaction itself, but work on the customers. So as soon as we win the customers, the transaction is easy to win. So we really put the transactional discussion right out of the first discussion with the customers. So we're going deep in connection with the customers, and we don't have to buy, when I'm talking about customers, I'm talking about real estate broker. So as soon as we made a good connection with a real estate broker, they want to work with you because they know you can give more to their clients.
Yes, that's phenomenal, and that's huge. And I know that was probably a big mountain for you to climb. And in presenting this idea to your real estate customers and your referral partners, and having the confidence to be able to show them the value in building relationships. There are two types of lenders, I think, in any mortgage industry in any country, and that is transactional or relationship. And obviously high trust teaches relationship lending. And because we feel as though it's sustainable, right? And measurable and scalable. You can't, really scale a business if you're making a fraction of what you should be making on your, on each transaction that you do. So Matt, I'll ask you the same question. What would you say was the biggest challenge in beginning to work with Eric, and how did you and Eric overcome that?
I think as I look back, one of the first comments that Eric made, and he made it repeatedly over the first few coaching sessions, is, Matt, no one's doing this up here. No one is implementing any of this that you're telling me to do. I said, trust me, it works. You just have to put faith in the system. Yeah. And so it was really fun because with Eric, he's in a unique situation where he has built connections with real estate agents and with financial planners. And it is this system, this circle of cash flow that just continues to build and build and build. And now it's, adding pieces in on his team that are focusing in on, the client experience, offering a 5-star customer service experience, really focusing in on the law of the encore. Greater the performance, the louder the applause. We want the applause to be just loud and
raving fans,
and raving fans about everything that happens. And so it's really the idea has been to build the systems around that, and then allow it to just organically grow. But again, it was a constant, Matt, no one's doing this. Nobody's doing this. This is I'm like all alone. People are looking at me like I'm crazy for doing what I'm doing. And so that was kind of the first, I think, initial piece, was actually trusting that the system would work, that what we actually coach on actually does work if you implement. Right. And a lot of times I think that's the biggest holdup, is like, okay, great, I had a great coaching session, but I don't really trust that that's going to work. Or I don't have the energy or the ability to go out and do it because I'm scared that I'll fail. Right. But that has not been Eric at all. It has been, okay, Matt, what's next? We just did that. It's working. What's next? Let's move to and let's just continue to build. And man, it has just been great to watch Eric, your numbers just go boom, 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 and just exponentially grow.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And the thing is, I think that is the biggest hurdle. And, I don't care, US, Australia, Canada, that is the biggest hurdle, is trusting that this process works. And it's been working for a very, very, very long time. And having that level of confidence to have that first high trust interview. So Eric, how was your first high trust interview? What was that like?
It was kind of weird, to be honest. It's a complete new way to talk with real estate broker or partner or customers itself. But you need to try it. You need to do it a couple of times to do it well, in fact. But it's working. It's a complete different way of approaching the transaction itself or the customers, and it's been really hard to implement. But when I saw the result, I just keep focusing on working on it for sure. And something real important is, after each session that I have as a coach members with Matt, I have a meeting with my team where I'm telling, okay, here's the discussion I had with Matt. It makes sense, I'm pretty sure. So how are we going to do it here and when?
Pretty sure.
We need to make it like, to implement fast and to see the result and to work around what I'm learning each sessions. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And so it sounds as if you've also created culture. Within your organization as well.
Yeah.
So, on that point, I understand you've not only grown your production, but you've also grown your team, Eric. So talk to us a little bit about your team, where you started and where your team is today.
Okay, so in 2019, we were 2 brokers, and we finally hired 1 assistant in 2019. 2012, I began my coaching with Matt. So we had the biggest numbers, but we still only the 3, so 2 brokers and 1 assistant. At beginning of 2021, I hired a new, a service manager, I hired database managers, and I like a couple of weeks ago I hired a new mortgage specialist. So I have now three more person that are working full time in our with our customer. So they have specific task in the transaction, specific goal, and the way we're working now. We like for each families that we're helping, they might talk with four or five of us in our team, so they really feel that they have a team working for them.
Yeah.
So not only me and my assistant. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And that's the way you scale a business, is when you have a team. That's the way you scale a business. So question for you, what is your database manager, your newest person that came on board? What is that role, and what are their roles and responsibilities? What are their tasks?
Okay, yeah. So for my database manager, it's really to do all the annual review, to get in touch each year's one or two time with all our customers in the database. So that specific person is creating a huge amount of new transaction or new opportunities. My service manager is when I talk with my team, I feel like after the transaction has been completed, like the customers just like go away, and we don't really stay connected with them. So my service manager is the person that is calling. It's getting in touch with the customers like 3 to 4 weeks before like before they go to the notary. That same person that's doing it like a quick check call a month after each moving, so each new house. She's kind of giving a concierge service. So just give a quick example. She called one of my customers like last week, where the customer the customer was supposed to move like in a month, and when she was just checking to see if everything is good with the new loan, the customer told her that like the mover just canceled her. So my service manager find my customers a new mover like right off the way. So we're giving like a real 5-star service to each of the customer with that service manager. And the mortgage specialist is just one that's helping me with like the new referral that I'm getting. So with all this person, we're getting in touch with all the customers like maybe 4 or 5 times a year. So I'm pretty sure, for sure, time will confirm, but that will give me like better renew or better numbers with the same customer.
Yes, absolutely. So that really does help with renewal, because I know that in Canada, when the renewals come up, you're in deep competition with the banks.
Yeah.
For those renewals. And so it's very, very important that you have that relationship and that trust. And so it sounds like you have a little bit of a concierge business.
Yeah, exactly. my service manager is a concierge service. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. So I know you've made a lot of changes to your customer experience. Tell me, Matt, how has this impacted Eric's business?
Just on the customer service experience, it's been huge. For him, and it's really been saying, we know that this annual, so in Canada, there's a renewal process that happens with every loan, which was different than here in the United States.
Yeah.
You get a loan and it's good, but there's a renewal process in Canada. So we've really focused in on how do we provide such a great experience up front, and then continue to build the relationship with the client over time, so that when it comes time for those renewals, it's automatic. The relationship is built, it's there, it's strong, and they're not going to look anywhere else. And so that's one of the big reasons that Eric implemented in with, having someone that is specific. Their only role is annual reviews and following up with the client. And it's just, but if you look at it as far as the circle of cash flow, and you look at that renewal piece for the client side,
yes,
not only are you getting, the opportunities for those renewals, but you're getting the opportunities for when they move, or if it's top of mind for them if anybody says or mentions mortgage or loan, they say, oh, well, you got to use Eric. I mean, he's fantastic. He and his team, not only do they take care of us initially, but they do a review with us once a year, and they're doing special stuff. Eric, you didn't told me about that, the moving experience thing. That's awesome. But again, that's another example of how when we position ourselves to be able to offer an experience and a level of service that is not expected. Your clients didn't expect that, Eric, yes, for what you did with the moving truck, and to get new movers there. That was something that is for them, they're going to be able to tell the world about what you just did. And that's what this is about, is you build this reputation as really caring about people more so than you do about the transaction and the loan.
Yes.
That's what really sets you apart, and people gravitate towards that and they want to use you.
Yeah. Eric, Matt, you just said a mouthful. Caring more about the people than you do about the transaction. That's massive. That's huge. And that is just a mindset shift that once you make that shift, then how you implement it, it probably becomes very easy. Right, Eric?
Yeah. But like we were talking before with the bank, for that specific customer where we find them the mover, they know that the bank won't do that for them. So we're really looking to be sure that everything's working well for the transaction. So that is where you stop fighting for a transaction, but you win the customer and you win a client. So forever.
Right. So when you do a high trust interview with a prospective borrower, Eric, what does that sound like? Are you scripted? What does that conversation sound like?
I'm not scripted. I'm kind of going with like the flow of the discussion with the customer. But like for sure, my main goal is always to be sure what is the more important for that customers for that specific transaction, and what is their like short-term goals and long-term goals. And I'm always trying to ask the question that they didn't get since now. So I'm not talking about the rates. I'm not talking about even the lenders itself. I'm really talking about the client itself, their families, their job, their area, what are their goals. And when we have all these information and you come with a specific strategy that's going to work for them, and like everything, usually the customer don't ask me the rates or the loans, the lenders until the end. So at the end, I'm telling, okay, we're going to go with that lenders, that's going to be the rates and everything. So
very different conversation.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a very, very different conversation. And I think that a lot of prospective customers only know to ask the interest rate. That's all they know to do is to ask for the interest rate. What are the terms? And so when you acknowledge that and say that's an important question and something we will definitely talk about. Yeah. But what's more important to me right now is to have a good understanding of what's important to you about the purchase of this home. That brings on a whole very different conversation. I have a client who is Spanish speaking, and she does follow the high trust interview to the T. And she told me the high impact introduction in Spanish, and it was beautiful. So I was hoping you were going to be able to do that for me in French.
Oh, you want me to do it in French?
Yeah.
Not a problem. Mais donc, habituellement, ce que je vais faire, c'est que je vais demander c'est quoi les buts du client, c'est quoi qui est plus important pour eux, puis c'est quoi surtout leur but à moyen court terme. So that sounds like this in French.
Very, very good. And that's beautiful. Thank you, Eric. It's one of my goals this year is that I want my father's French, and so I want to learn to speak French. So you may become one of my coaches yet. Okay, so we are coming up on the end, and at the end of all of our interviews, I like to kind of throw a little bit of a curveball out there for you. So I'd like to ask each of you a question. So I'll start with Eric. And Eric, the curveball question that I think I'd like to ask you today is for you to complete this sentence. What I love most about my business today is.
I think it's the deep connection I'm getting with my clients. So we used to work on the transaction, and since I'm working with the clients, I'm getting like a good connection with all of them. So that is the switch since the last 2 years that I really love. So everything regarding the transaction is some things on the side,
Yeah.
and I'm talking with them. So,
That's wonderful. So I would imagine that with COVID, that connection is really appreciated as
yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah,
I
exactly.
think people really want to connect, and as an originator, is it uncomfortable to ask that question? Some of the questions, why is that important to you, or what's important to you, or is it pretty natural for you?
I think it's now natural. It took a couple of time, like to put the transactional discussion on the side, but
Yes.
since a couple of months, like let's say a year, it's pretty natural. And like I know that I talked with the customers recently, and I just asked them how has been the last couple of months regarding the COVID in your life. It was like he asked me what is the point regarding the loan, and when I answer him, none. There is no relation. I just want to know how was it. Like he find it strange, but it opened way new like bigger discussion with that customer where, like I told you, we had a deep connection together.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, I mean, I love that. And I know that a lot of our coaching members will use the high trust interview. They'll use the high trust interview in their personal relationships, and with their children and at the market, they'll say, well, what's important to you about this? And they end up having some pretty amazing conversations. Um, as always, Eric, I know that you are in line to become one of our Todd Duncan coaches. The final step for you, obviously, is going through Sales Academy, which hopefully we'll get this accomplished by the end of the year for you, because we would love to have you join our faculty. If to see if you qualify to become a Todd Duncan coach. It is a certain profile that we look for in coaching for our Todd Duncan coaching faculty. But we do have on the website at toddduncan.com/coaching. There's a place where you can apply. And Todd Duncan coaching is growing in leaps and bounds. And we are looking for more coaches. So if you'd like to see if you would like to apply, Matt, can you talk to us a little bit about, before I ask you your curveball question, what it's like to be a Todd Duncan coach?
Oh, I love it. I've been, what is it, 3.5, 4 years now.
Yes, sir.
It does two things. Number one, we talk about it collectively. Do you have the heart of a coach?
Yes.
And really, this is about believing in a system that helps people win and helps people be the best versions of themselves in life and in business. And to be able to watch my coaching members continually progress and get better monetarily, having time to spend on vacations with family that they never were able to do, taking an 80 to 100-hour work week and chopping it down to 30 to 40 hours a week. Those are massive, massive changes. And so on my side, it is, for my coaching members, it is the highlight of my week, to be able to watch them grow and develop, and I absolutely love it. So if you truly enjoy helping people and watching people grow and using it in a system that absolutely works, then yes, being a coach is great. It's wonderful. It also keeps me on top of my game. It is, anytime that you learn or educate or teach about something, you're learning about it yourself. A lot of times the teacher learns more than the student, as you continue to move forward on it. So it's a two-edged, wonderful sword, and it's absolutely wonderful. I love doing it.
Yeah. Well, Matt, you brought such immense value to our coaching faculty, and I'm just grateful to you every single day. Every single day, just what you bring, obviously to the faculty, to the organization, and most importantly to our coaching members. We just, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're very, very grateful to you for that. So, with that, I will ask you your curveball question, and that is, when it comes to achieving any goal in business and life, what I know for sure is.
Be passionate about it and consistent with doing it. You have to have both of those pieces. You've got to be passionate about what it is that you want to do, whatever your goal is. You've got to be 100% into it in life and in business. And then you've got to be consistent at taking the small steps necessary to actually achieve that goal. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes.
This is something that you've got to do every single day. You've got to get disciplined in it. You've got to have those habits that you put in place that are going to be tough at first because we don't like change. We're just not used to that. And so time blocking, working on making sure that you're calling your strategic partners, growing, a 5-star customer service experience, working on annual reviews, building your team out. I mean, all of these are you look at it and like, wow, can I do that? That's massive. But it's just the little teeny steps that you take every single day.
So true. Yes. Right? Yes. It is the moving of the needle, right? It is those incremental steps. And I think that's what happens for so many people is they'll listen to Irrefutable like we had a week or two ago, or they'll come to an academy, they'll come to Sales Mastery and they'll say, I want to do that. So the passion is there. And coaching, actually, what it does is it puts it in incremental steps that, yes, you can achieve that. And here's the path. And this is how we're going to achieve that. And, before the end of the year, it's done. Look at Eric's business, in less than 2 years, he's grown his business exponentially. So that's phenomenal. So Eric, is there anything you want to add to that before we jump off?
No, nothing special. Just want to say, if you go with a coaching, you have to trust the process and you have to try it and implement it as soon as you learn it. That's the way to grow to make it work. Yeah.
Yes. That's very, very true. I think a lot of people, when they come into coaching, and we even hear people say that, well, you're the coach, tell me what to do. And I'm like, well, actually, it's not about my agenda. It's about yours, and how we're going to help you get to where you want to go. And so it's very, very true. I think that's a little bit of a myth. So you're right. Thank you for sharing that, Eric. So I want to thank you both so much for joining me this morning. And thank you for being a part of the Todd Duncan universe. We'd love having you with us. And have an amazing week. And thank you all for joining us today. I want to say hello to Mike Lloyd, who is another one of our Canadian coaching members. He's been coaching with us. Mike's business is just growing and just as big as yours, Eric. It's just his team is growing. It's just amazing to work with our Canadian members. So we hope to have more and more of you join with us. And in the meantime, have an amazing week. Thank you both and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, take care.